Alright guys, this is the Silmarillion and I'm gonna review this legendary and epic book that I read for the first time when I was like 12, and the second time when I was in my 20s, and the third time this winter. So I got some perspective on it, but just to give you a short version, this is basically the beginning history of the world of Middle-earth. So it's not all the history up until Lord of the Rings, but it's the first kind of part with gods and deities. And Silmarillion, the book itself, is structured in a way where it's like a bunch of different short stories. Quite a few actually. So don't expect to be with the same characters for the entire book, or the same gods, or even the world changes. The world itself changes. And there you go through different eras in this, even though this book is like the first age of Middle-earth, and Lord of the Rings, I believe, is the third age. So you have a lot of time in between there as well. But all in all, I would say there are so many moments that are just epic, and I also have a bias because I grew up with Lord of the Rings and I loved it, and I read this book and I drew like drawings of the characters and scenes that were my favorites. So I am very biased. For me personally, this is a 10 out of 10. But if I'm going to give it an objective review of how the reading experience is and how the book is, just reading it as it is, trying to have the perspective of a person that will read it now, I'd probably give it closer to a 7. So subjective review, 10 out of 10. Objective review, probably 7 out of 10. So it's a real solid, especially the bigger of a Lord of the Rings fan you are, the more you will appreciate this. So the more hardcore Lord of the Rings fans, if you haven't read this, do it. If you're not that hardcore, maybe it's not for you, and maybe it's enough to, I don't know, check out lore videos that summarize stuff. I also want to show you this edition, because it's pretty new. I think it's pretty decent. They did a decent job if you like hardcovers. And yeah, all in all, this has some epic moments, but compared to Lord of the Rings, that is very very concentrated, and I would say quite optimistic in the story. At the end of the story, like it's still an optimistic story and hopeful. This has a lot of darkness and there's a lot of tragedy here, so it's more closer to old folklore and mythology. So don't be expecting everything to be good and fine. I'm not gonna say more to spoil anything, but that's basically it. A lot of epic stuff. And if you like this video, remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. And I wish you all an amazing day. Over and out.